Oh, you know I came to
Kick-Ass horror from her, you bitch!
What's up, Horror Fiends? It's your boy, Ricky Van. I am back with my boy, Joe the Psychologist. You're watching Kick-Ass Horror on Horror Fiend TV. First of all, Joe the Psychologist, how you doing, bro?
I am great. This is it. We're discussing the blueprint in female sci-fi horror.
In this episode, we will be talking about Lieutenant Ellen Ripley, played by the magnificent Sigourney Weaver, a character created by Dan O'Bannon, debuting first in 1979 in the film Alien, directed by Ridley Scott. Now, for this series, we're going to be focusing primarily on Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. I know Ripley and Sigourney Weaver especially went back and voiced her in a few other times, but we're talking about this original trilogy, and of course nothing that came after, because we're not talking about the films. We are talking about Ellen Ripley, the character, and how much she kicked ass. Now, Joe, tell me, man. I know you're a big fan of Ripley, bro. What is it about this character that to you stands out and is a strong character, not just in horror cinema, but in cinema altogether? Because this is a groundbreaking character, in my opinion. Why does Ellen Ripley kick ass to you, bro?
Well, and she's a strong character who at first was not taken seriously. Like this whole franchise would have been done if they would have listened to her when they wanted to bring Kane into the ship. Done. There would be no Alien franchise movie. The whole thing's over. But they didn't listen to her. And the thing I love about her character arc through all three, obviously the first two being the strongest one. The third one's a little divisive, but it's still strong in its own points. But she's a woman, and this is back in the 70s. And originally, the role was supposed to be a male. It was then changed into a female, and then Sigourney got the role.
That was
And
Ridley Scott's decision. Yeah.
yeah, and he gave her most iconic role. I mean, everyone has their iconic horror role, and this is hers. Yes, she's done um Ghostbusters. She's done a whole lot. She was great in Copycat. Definitely check that out. It's a thriller horror, but this character, she on her own in the first one, no one listened to her. She took care of shit. She was the only one that survived. She
Yes.
literally, even with Ash trying to kill her, and in the second one, same thing. No one listened to her. She has always had a strong voice, but no one ever took her serious. But when she can show herself, everyone was just like, wow, we did not take her serious. And that's what is great about her character, is because no one took her serious. When she gets in the cargo thing and she turns to the guys, they're like, all right. And that's what I mean. Her character isn't overly complicated, and they don't try to, she doesn't start out in one way in Aliens, and by the end of it, all of a sudden she's like this superhero. She is still a human, and I don't I fucking love Ripley. I enjoyed having to rewatch these again for this, and I've seen Alien a whole bunch of times. Like anytime it's on, it's one of those movies that you're gonna stop no matter what spot you're in.
Ash? You open the door? Bye, Ash.
Yeah, Ellen Ripley, the warrant officer on the Nostromo, that's their spaceship. And you're right, because this isn't a character that came in weak and had to find her inner strength. This is a character that was always strong. She was basically a no nonsense protagonist, intelligent, strong, fearless, brave, pretty much in that same category, very brave. And she's a mother figure as well, especially when Newt was involved within her storyline. She put herself last. She's very selfless, a very
Mhm.
selfless character. You mentioned the first movie, she was more like a survivor out of necessity in a sense in that film. And the second film, she was more like the reluctant hero because she didn't want to go back over there. She wanted nothing to do with any of that. And what was sad about it too, that when she wakes up, I think 57 years later in part two, and she found out like her sister had, I'm sorry, her daughter had died of old age, and she's it's like almost like Captain America finds herself like a woman at a time, you know. So it's like, damn, you know, she's pretty much almost guilted into going into this mission, and of course we got an Alien 3. This is when she really comes. This is when she really shows the strong character she is. Like she doesn't back down from
Nope.
these prisoners. I mean, see, oh man. All right, so in 3, their ship it ejects them, right? I guess there was some malfunction because now let me ask you this. I know it's got nothing to do with the character, but the alien was already in the ship when it crashes, and she ends up in this prison essentially. It's this
Yeah.
facility, right? It's this foundry, this former foundry. So it's all males.
Hmm.
She's the only female, and this is not just. And this is the worst of the worst, bro. We're talking about gangsters, rapists, murderers. You know, the most vile human beings possible who found God now, but they haven't seen a woman in decades. So to put her in that situation and the way she handled herself, she didn't let no one talk down to her. She didn't let nobody bully her. When she goes to the table when they're all eating lunch, they're trying to downplay. She just still sits down and like in the middle around everybody. Even when she was almost raped, the fact that when she was saved, she fought back the moment she could. Like, nah, get the
Yep.
fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, such a strong character in that sense, and that's what I like about the character. You know, I know when we came up with this, well, you came up with this series, I knew this was gonna be the top character to talk about because I know how much you fancy Ellen Ripley. So
Of
good shout.
course.
Come on, keep moving, baby.
Hold on, Newt.
Ripley, what the hell are you doing? Turn around! That's an order!
Now, over the course of this trilogy, Ripley has faced many aliens. Well, mostly from the second one, but all shapes and sizes. I mean, she's not a killer per se. She's, you know, she's not going out there. And what I like about it, she's not this character that just goes around killing the aliens. You know, it's always out of survival mode, survival instinct, her motherly instinct. She's protecting Newt. There's always something behind her. In the third film, she's trying to save the world by sacrificing herself when she finds out she has the alien queen and you know lodged inside of her. You know, but a lot of deaths in this movie within the trilogy. What any particular scene involving an alien that she, I mean, it's hard to say favorite kill because again, she's not like this killer,
Yeah.
but any moment stood out to you as a favorite moment as far as involving taking care of business, bro?
I mean, it's gonna be probably the one that unfortunately is the most known for her, and that's when she puts on the cargo suit to fight the queen. You know, when they thought that she took care of everything, she faced the queen. And that's the other thing is that um they it's 57 years later. They could have gone, and it's James Cameron. I'm surprised that they didn't create stuff to give her like a cybernetic suit, you know, something to give her like a upper hand. They gave it to her in the form of the cargo thing. It's bulky. It's not like the easiest thing. I mean, dude, we went to Comic-Con and we saw that group that dressed up as the soldiers and the girl.
Yeah.
You saw what it she needed a
Hmm.
break and it took the whole team to get her. So could you imagine Sigourney being put into that? But yeah, no, it's that. It's, you know, because yeah, in that one, she went after Newt. She comes face to face, destroys the brood, and then just when they think they're in the clear, she shows up on the ship and gets in the suit and then has her most memorable line.
Yeah, dude, for me too. Of course, that is also my favorite kill is when she dispensed of the alien queen in Aliens, dude. The fact that there wasn't any music at all during that sequence when she's in the suit and she's fighting off the alien queen, and just the way you could hear her grunting and the alien trying to get at her, and she's all like fighting back. You hear Newt screaming at her in the background, and just the sound of the bulky machinery, just all the movements. You could just hear everything and no music. And then once they fall into the airlock, and the airlock opens, and the alien gets sucked out, and that is when the music kicks in.
Yep.
And the funniest part is you got Bishop who slides across half his body. But what I love about it, he saves Newt. Newt's about to get sucked in, and he grabs her. She's like, Bishop, you know. But I also love that one giant toolbox or whatever that shit was that came this close to fucking taking out Ripley's head. So like if you blink, you miss it, but it's like whoop, great moment. That goes down. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's no greater moment in the entire trilogy with Ellen Ripley that stands out. And not to mention the great James Horner soundtrack in that scene. Once the music did kick in, it's intense. Like your blood is pumping, and you're just rooting for Ripley. And that's the thing about this character, is that you find yourself legit rooting for her, like you know her, because she's not a throwaway character. She's not like, she's very believable because that's who she is. She speaks with conviction, especially like I said, when she stands up to other stronger characters. Nah, 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 nah. I'm Ellen fucking Ripley. All right.
Hmm.
That's the vibe I got. Now we're gonna talk about the most memorable moment in Ellen Ripley and her career in the Alien franchise. We just talked about it, honestly. Is there any greater moment than what we just talked about? And
Yeah, there is.
yes, go for it, go
Yes,
for it.
there
We haven't
is.
talked about it yet. We haven't
In the
talked about
first
it.
one, I mean, you got to go back to the OG. In the OG, she blew up the Nostromo. Again, she thinks in the clear, which is why I love the Queen showing up in the second one, is kind of a nod to, once again, Ripley, who kicked ass, let her guard down and didn't realize the alien was on. But when, you've got the smoke from all this, whatever the equipment, all this mist that blows out, a strobe light, and she realizes the alien is there. And then she slowly gets into that outfit. That's still, when I
Very
rewatched it,
meticulously, yes,
yes,
yes.
and that, so she, like, just the way it was done, the way that she breathed, like if you're watching it, especially if you're watching it in the dark, you find yourself like her holding your breath, and she's putting the outfit on, and all of a sudden you're there, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, let me not make a noise. I mean, it's iconic. I know everyone loves the Queen, and her in the cargo robot, but for me, it's that, because it's one of the times where, once again, Ripley shows she kept her cool composure, and she thoroughly came up with a plan in that moment, and it worked.
What's really great too is, like, again, Ripley, like, almost like a war crime, where she's like, "Come on!" Like she's fighting the queen. Like, God dang, bro, like, this woman is incredible. And what is the one line joke? I'm surprised you have not said it yet.
Get away from her, you bitch.
Chef's kiss. Well, before we wrap this up, I cannot talk about Ellen Ripley and not talk about that classic scene in Alien when she's like in her underwear. I know it's yes, as a young boy, but the way the alien was like hiding in the little, the background, and it's like, oh, it just always gave me the creeps. But her in her underwear distracted me from the fact that there was this evil monster on board. But I had to just throw that in there because, come
I
on,
know,
that
I
was, I
know.
mean, Well, you know, even
Like,
even for you.
yeah, I mean, it was a little distracting. It's a little bit of a tragic outfit that they put on such a beautiful woman, by the way.
Yeah.
I gotta
But
say.
that's Ellen Ripley, her versus I mean, it's basically her versus the Whaling Corporation, you know. So not a big kill count necessarily because I think the soldiers did most of that hard grunt work, but she has the most memorable moments, like you said, and just a strong, independent character, no nonsense, didn't take shit from nobody. Whether it was who's that asshole in part two? God dang,
Burke.
Paul Reiser,
Burke.
Burke, whether it was Burke or Ash in the first film, and she fought Ash too, bro. Don't she threw hands with that robot,
Oh
so
yeah.
she's got her moments, man. Great character, and the way she stood up for herself within that prison of all these murderers and rapists, she's awesome. So Ellen Ripley, Aliens, and Alien 3. Make sure you check out all three films. Alien 3, I saw it again recently, and let me say three things. It's not as bad as I thought.
No.
Two, um, it didn't age well, to be honest with you.
Mm-mm.
And three, it made me even appreciate the Ellen Ripley character even more because of just not with her actions, but just how she carries herself, man. So, and man, when she wanted to fucking get down with my boy over there, my boy, what's it, the guy from fucking Game of Thrones, Lannister, Tywin Lannister. I forgot Clemens, I think was his name in this movie. That was awesome. He was like, "Oh, you so pretty much you're dodging my question with sex, you know." So I love Ripley. Good shout. Anything else you want to throw in before we wrap this one up?
Nah, man, just make sure, like I said, check out all her movies, all the Alien ones, and honestly, the Resurrection one. It's not horrible. It's a
She's in that,
fun one. She's in that one.
but it's a clone, isn't it?
She is mixed with alien DNA, so
Uh,
yeah.
we don't count that one then.
No, no. And then you have Winona Ryder. I mean, I love Winona. She plays one of the robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not,
But no,
yeah.
again, Ripley is badass. I mean, when you want a character in sci-fi, especially horror, this is kind of what you want the your protagonist, especially a female, to be one that's not going to cower down, one that stands with what she says. I mean, and it was repeated with the main character in Romulus, and it was also repeated with Charlene Theron's character. She was somewhat like Ripley. She stood up to all the men. She was in charge.
Mhm.
So it showed that in a genre where generally the men are the hero, the woman sometimes is the last man, woman standing.
And her influence carried so much weight, not just throughout this series, but throughout cinema.
Yep.
And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another episode of Kick-Ass Horror. Join us back for the next episode. Joe, do you want to reveal who we're talking about, or you want to save that nugget for when we drop it?
Yeah, we'll do. Let's drop that one.
With that being said, I'm Ricky Van, Joe the Psychologist. Watch horror movies. Stay scared. Peace.
Not bad for a human.